welcome back to my channel, Tea with Tierra. Y'all know I got the tea. Are you all ready to get it though? That's the question. Grab your coffee mugs, grab your bottles of tea, whatever tea you prefer. Green tea, bottled tea, hot tea, cold tea, and let's get the tea. Anywho, tonight we're going to be talking on the topic of reaping and sowing. Now, I've written down a couple of pointers or whatever because I really want to convey this message and get it through to you all, but it's not going to be a long one. I'm going to try to make it as short and sweet as possible. So let me start out with, have you ever known anyone to plant oranges and apples come up out of the ground? Me either. Okay, how about this one? Have you ever planted a potato and got squash? Nah, me either. So, what have you planted and got what you sowed? Well, I'm not a gardener, but for sure. But I know one thing. If I plant a tomato, I expect for a tomato to come up. If I get a watermelon seed and I put it in the ground, I expect to see a watermelon come up, not a grapefruit. So now we can kind of shift on into our topic on reaping and sowing. So let's talk about some of the things that we can sow into the ground or into the atmosphere. We can sow things like discord and drama. Well, let's stop right there and let's talk about that. Have you ever known or have you yourself sowed seeds of discord and drama and expected to be well liked, expected to have this peaceful and perfect life, but things just keep on seeming to pile up and add up, and every time you turn around, there's drama? Well, maybe you need to check the seeds that you're sowing into the ground. Have you ever planted unfaithfulness and thought that you deserve for somebody to be faithful to you? But you going around being a player from the Himalaya. Then when you ready to settle down and get into a relationship, they should be faithful to you. Tell me how that worked out. Sometimes it does work out, but for how long? And in what relationship did you not reap what you sowed? Because it takes a while. We'll get on that, but it takes a while for the harvest to come up. It doesn't immediately, when you put a seed in the ground, it doesn't sprout up the same day. Are you sowing seeds of hate and expecting to get all this love in return? Are you getting on Facebook and I always got something negative to say about somebody? Or even if you don't say it publicly, calling somebody on the phone, talking about somebody else's business and hating on them. Oh, look at so-and-so. She thinks she did. Oh, look at she shouldn't have never. Hating and expect to get love in return. Not going to happen. And then you wonder why every time you turn around, you putting a post up saying people always hating on you. Are you getting my drift? Are you getting where I'm going with this? Have you ever planted seeds of procrastination and slothfulness and wanted all these big plans and things to happen for you? I can attest to that one because procrastination is my biggest enemy. And I have this dream, you all know, of leaving my 9 to 5, and there's no possible way that you can do anything better than what you're doing if you're slothful and you procrastinate. Like, what's going to happen? There's an old saying that says that nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. We have got to get out there and get busy sowing bright seeds so we can reap the product of what we've sowed. Do you sow a bad attitude into the atmosphere and you expect to be greeted with all types of pleasantness, love, and all this? You want people to be ecstatic when they see you, be happy to be around you, and you always have a bad attitude. You go into work with a bad attitude. And you wonder why people don't speak to you. Well, actually, when they see you, they want to run in the opposite direction. But they don't want to sow seeds of bad attitude themselves, so they speak to you anyway. But we have got to stop this behavior. We have got to stop thinking that we can sow all this negativity and then reap all this positivity. Now, on the flip side, on the other end of the spectrum, do you sow peace and love? Is that just your personality? Are you that type of person? Or have you learned to sow peace and love? Because guess what's going to come from that? If you are a peacemaker, if you sow peace and love, guess what's going to come to you? Peace and love. You're going to reap the harvest of peace and love. Do you sow loyalty in your relationships with people, with friends? Is that the type of person you are? Is that the kind of, is that your character? A loyal character? Most of the time, you're going to reap loyalty. And the reason that I say that, because stuff like that, when it comes to dealing with other people, loyalty and stuff like that, you can't put 100% guarantee stamp on it, because sometimes, and this is a whole different topic, but sometimes when we sow seeds, we expect them to immediately come up. The harvest don't immediately, you can't put not one seed in the ground, and if you can, let me know, in the ground and expect for it to sprout up the next day. Now, it'll start budding. You might see some green there, and it'll start budding little by little. But that's you started getting ready. You getting ready to see the harvest or the fruits of your labor. So with loyalty, that's a touchy one, and honesty, or whatever. If you sow those seeds, then you will reap loyalty and honesty, but you can't give up on the harvest and say, I'm tired of waiting, and then go out there and find somebody or whatever, and they're not loyal to you, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm a loyal person. Okay, well, did you wait for your harvest to come? Because it was coming. So if you didn't reap what you sowed, then you may have jumped the gun and didn't wait on the harvest. I'm going to say that. We are a byproduct of what we sow. And that's just that. Whatever you sow, whatever you put out into the atmosphere, is what you're going to get back. You cannot expect to get anything different than what you sow. And me saying that is because a lot of times we want to say what's fair and what's unfair. So I'm going to read what I jotted down. It says most of the things we see as fair or unfair is just us either not wanting to face the consequences of our self-willed actions. So fair, that's not fair. Why'd that happen? That's not fair. Well, most of the time, fair falls under the category of we did something and something happened to us. It may not happen right then, but something happened to us and now it's not fair. What is fair, for one? What is fair? We can almost eliminate the whole word of fair, because it's, we're the rulers of our own destiny. So this law of reaping and sowing, nobody wants to, really talk about it or hear about it, but it makes more sense than what's fair and unfair, because what's really fair? And then when we get to saying that stuff is not fair, okay, so you got a man or a woman, let's just use the example, gained a relationship. You knew he was in a relationship. You knew she had a man when you got with him or her. And everything is going good. It was so beautiful when y'all was in an entanglement, or when y'all was sneaking and creeping. Everything was so good, so beautiful. And now here y'all are a year down the line, or maybe even married, and now things are getting suspect. Maybe there's some infidelity in a relationship. Maybe, what I'm saying, you're all together, been left how they left the person for you. Now you're in the shoes on the other foot. I've been there, done that. Didn't feel so good. But in the moment, when it was all, oh, he was going to leave his woman for me and da-da-da-da, I was sucking it all in. It made sense. But when the shoe was on the other foot, and God was making it really make sense to me, I didn't want to, I couldn't feel it. I was with that, it's not fair. Why me? Well, what seeds did I sow? Okay, let's trace it back to there. What seeds did you sow? Because you're always, some people want to call it karma, but God calls it the law of the harvest. And so most of the time we cause our own misery. We can trace it. We cause our own misery. And given sometimes we are victims of circumstances. I'm not going to exclude that because sometimes circumstances are out of your control. Things happen. You could be, a perfectly good employee and have a boss that just hates you no matter what you do, no matter what seed you sow. They just hate you. Victim of circumstances. Just was what it was. No cause of your own. That does happen, and you could be a loyal person and be a victim of circumstances, just end up with the wrong person. But most of the time, our life is ruled by law. And the law is reaping and sowing. You're not going to get anything out the atmosphere. You're not going to get to dip your hand in the bucket and pull out $1 million if you ain't putting nothing in the pot. Let's just be real. Where they do that at? And wherever they do it at, point me in that direction. Because most of the time, if it's anything that includes giving away anything, which they call it free, it's always something tied behind. You always got to give something. And if you didn't give it, somebody else gave it. So it's nothing really free. We always have to sow into our own life, our own destiny. So what are we sowing into our life? And who are we blaming for the things that we call unfair? Anyways, I told you all that it will be short and sweet. So I'm going to wrap this up, but this was on my heart or whatever. And like I said, I've experienced it. I've been there and done that. But the reason for us sharing, the reason for us coming on here and getting the tea is so we can be upfront and honest, and we can change. We can confront our issues head on, and we can acknowledge, hey, been there, done that. Oh, this is why I keep getting hangups. This is why I haven't put that business together yet and I'm not making the money, or I can't quit my job because I'm sowing the wrong seeds. Are you staying up late? Are you putting in the work, the dedication to get out of it, to get something out of it? We want that child to be an honor student. We want our kids to just, to soar and be an honor student. Are we putting time and work and are we dedicating ourselves to them? Are we putting into them? Because it was once said to me, you can't draw out of the bank nothing that you haven't put in there. If you haven't made a deposit, now how can you draw out of the bank? You can't. You can go to the ATM all you want to with your little card, but nothing leads to nothing. If you haven't put anything into that account, you can't draw anything out of it. So let's start planting positive seeds. Let's start depositing positive things and see what we get out of it. And that's been the tea with C.R.Y. Until next time, y'all be blessed and sow good seeds.